Fabulous. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Professor Keltos. This is a Divination Academy, and I am so excited to have you here with us. Today's class is part of my Magic, Witchcraft, Paganism basic series that I've been doing for a few months now. And this class series is specifically on energy and energy work. So we'll be talking about that today. That is a simple topic, yet a big topic. It is everything. It is all that there is. So there's a lot to talk about today. There's multiple different type of energy systems. I know most people are going to be familiar with the 7 chakra system, but there are other systems as well. And I'll touch briefly on some of them. We'll talk about grounding and earthing just a little bit because it is some way to work with energy. We're going to talk about energy, what energy is, how to work with energy, the fact that pretty much every single thing that you do that's magic is energy work if you really look at it, because magic is literally manipulating energy. That's literally like the definition of magic and what you're doing. We are energy. Everything around you is energy. Nothing is actually like physically here. So we're going to talk about all of that. So we've got a lot to go over today. I'm really excited about this. This is like a very basic core concept that you need for any type of healing, that you need for fully understanding your existence and understanding your place in the multiverse. This is a very basic concept for any type of ritual work, any type of ceremonial work, any type of manifestation, because manifestation is being in alignment with the frequencies and vibrations. So this concept is a big concept. It covers a lot of things. But again, like I said, it's also a really simple concept, but it's, like I said, also a big concept. So I'm really excited to do this one today. Like I said before in the beginning, I did see some names I don't recognize and some that I do. So thank you for everybody being here today. And then because of that, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping here quick. So for the new faces, again, this is Divination Academy. Thank you so much for finding us. Who we are free Pagan Academy. Everything we offer is always free for you guys. Every class we offer, every retreat we offer, every club we have, every certification program, everything we offer for you guys is for free. So you guys always have access to those, all the resources we give, it's all for free. We believe that education and knowledge should be free and accessible to all. That's a really core belief for us. And that's what we are here to do. And we're here to spread knowledge in pagan cultures, pagan religions, and witchcraft and magic and all of that fun stuff across all different types of pantheons and cults. We cover a lot of different things at this school. And we're happy to do it. And we love doing it. So to get more information about us, you can go to divinationacademy.com. Definitely check that out. We have tons of resources there. All my study guides for my classes are there. If there's other professors that do study guides, they're there. We have almost entire PDFs of books there. We have so much information on that website for you. You can look at what we all have to offer as well, like our certification programs, our private apprenticeships. You can learn more about our professors, about our director and our founder, and a bunch of information is there for you. Also, if you enroll with us at the Academy, your student page is going to be located too. So if you enroll with us at the Academy, which is free, by the way, and all you have to do is send us a message, a DM saying you would like to enroll on our Facebook page. You then get access to our private Facebook community. Can you guys not hear me? Okay, I have one person saying they can't hear me. Can anybody else hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so
I can hear you also.
So Raid Wolf, I would recommend.
I can hear you.
Yeah, just log out and come back in then. I know Zoom can sometimes be tricky, and that happens to me sometimes with our Zoom room too. So if you just log out and come back in, try that, and it should reset the sound for you, hopefully. I apologize. I'm sorry. I know Zoom can be crappy. I'm okay. Sorry, I just saw that. I wanted to address that right away. Where was I at? Okay, yeah, send us a direct message saying you want to enroll. You'll get access to private community. You'll get access to professors very often. You get access to so much. We have clubs. We have a lot of stuff. So definitely, if you like today, if you've seen other classes and you thought about it, just send us a message to enroll. It's free, and you get access to a lot. So you're really not losing out on anything. The next thing that I want to touch on is if you've missed classes or if you want to rewatch this one at a later date, go check out our YouTube page. If you search Divination Academy, we are the only one on there. We pop up right away. Our logo's right there. I think the last time I checked, because Alex just put up a bunch of new videos this week, we have like, I think 188 different classes you can watch on a lot of different topics, from ceremonial magic, working with demons, to the history and mythology of the jinn, to tarot, to Reiki, to so many different things. So definitely go check out our YouTube page. Like I said, we have, I think, over 180 right now, and we have a lot more coming. So that's where all of our replays will be, and they're all free there for you to have access to, so you can check us out there. The last little bit of housekeeping before we jump into class is I always just do a little bit about myself, just so you know who you're learning from. So again, Professor Kelsey Coase. I am from Central Minnesota. I've been a solitary practitioner the last 15, 16 years. I have studied under quite a few different masters and mentors, a lot of different topics and a lot of different cultures. I consider myself a gray witch and a mystic, so I am all about duality and being in the middle space. I'm all about making sure that I work with all types of entities. I work from all type of cultures, all type of pantheons. I also make sure that I am ethically appropriate. I make sure that I follow the cultural significance. I look at the history, all of that. So I teach from everywhere. So that's why, again, in the little intro, I talked about the fact there's multiple different energy systems. You're going to get to learn that from me, because that's what I pull from everywhere. And I like to know everything. So that's who I am, and I hope you enjoy class today. So before we get going, if anybody has any questions, any comments, or if they want to talk about anything with energy that they already know, you can feel free to do that. But like I said, we're going to get into literally what energy is, what energy work is, different types of energy, how to work with your energy, how to protect your energy. All of that fun stuff is going to be coming in today. And like I said, we're going to talk about different systems too. Most people know about the 7 chakras, but there also are other different systems and different energies to work with. So any comments, any questions? Otherwise, we will jump right into the study guide. Thank you, Morgan. I was just about to link that again too. And for those of you that are new, I always create a study guide for every one of my classes, and this is what I teach off of. I teach directly out of this. Like, you get to keep this always. You always have access to this. This is where you can take your notes. Like, you'll get extra details obviously while I'm going, but this is what I teach off of my study guide. I try to have images in there. This one I just didn't have time to get it in. I've had a lot of stuff. But okay, I don't see any questions or any comments. So I'm going to jump into the study guide. And then just one more disclaimer, because again, I do have some new students in here. You can put questions whenever you want into the chat. Just drop them in whenever you want. I may not answer them right away. I may not see them right away. I'm not always looking at the chat. It distracts me. So I jump in and out. I do jump into it as often as I feel like fits within my teaching. I answer every question and every comment that I see, but you still, like I said, just drop them in whenever. I just might not get to it immediately, but I will get to it, I promise. Okay, so we're just gonna jump in. Energy. What is energy? Literally, energy is everything, guys. Literally everything in existence is energy. Nothing is solid, nothing in front of you, nothing around you, even you, your family, the entire cosmos. Like, it is not like a solid thing. It is like, that concept is like a reality that we have created ourselves. Everything is literally vibration. Everything is frequency. Everything is energy. Literally, that, like, everything is energy. This is why, like, this concept is just so important. It's also so simple and so big. Because you do any type of magical work, you can't exist without energy, without understanding the concept of energy, how it works and how it flows within you, within the multiverse, within the universe, within everything surrounding you, and it creates everything around you. It's going to be hard for you to connect to your intuition. It's going to be hard for you to even recognize your own energy. It's going to be hard for you to manipulate energy in the sense of manifestation, in the sense of alignment, in the sense of awakening, in the sense of healing, in the sense of magical workings. Like that all requires understanding of energy and the manipulation and moving of energy. That's literally what our existence is all about. And this is, like I said, this is why it is so, so, so important. Energy also is the way that our higher self, our sacred contracts, our soul families, our sacred purposes, our awakening process, whatever the verbiage is that you like to use for that, or however you view that within your practice, that is how, like, vibrations, frequencies, energy, that is how that part of you communicates to your physical yourself. That's how it communicates to the soul that you are. That's how it communicates with the part of you that is in the process of re-remembering everything and re-remembering and reawakening and getting access to your sacred contracts and all the juiciness of who you are. That is how your intuition communicates with you. That is how others' energies communicate. Like, everybody around you is energy. Like, that is how all communication happens. Energy is also the flow and the movement of communication. It is that language. So it's really, really important to understand and grasp that concept so that you're able to even hear and tune into that language to understand what's going on around you. If you don't understand, like, the concept of energy, if you don't understand how much, like, that's literally what you are and everything around you is, and that's what everything is made up of, it's almost like you're trying to, like, you only speak English and you're trying to live in a society that's only like Japanese, Korean, something that you really, really don't know. You're never going to understand. You're never going to be in the same wavelength. You're never going to be able to communicate. You're never going to fully understand each other because you're not even speaking the same language if you don't understand your energy and if you don't understand your place within energy and how we all move within that flow of energy. It allows us to understand others around us. It allows us to understand the world, the cosmos, the multiverse, all of that, our practical everyday matters. It really puts you into perspective about how significant and insignificant you are at both times. Understanding energy really locks you into this understanding of duality and how opposites exist at the same time, and they're supposed to exist at the same time, and that's what's magical and lovely about the world. This is really what all of this brings to you, and this is what this understanding is going to help you with. It helps you get access to all of your mystical, magical stuff, all of your sacred stuff, your wisdom, your intuition, all of that. So I kind of talked about this a little bit in my grounding and earthing class too, because we have so many layers of energy as well, because we're constantly moving within this sea of energy. We've got the sea of the cosmos and the multiverse of energy. Then we have the energy and the frequencies of which we as humans exist on. We have the energies and the frequencies of which other beings exist on that are just moving within each other and flowing and layering on top of each other. We have the energies within ourselves which are flowing and moving within each other. It's just this massive sea of energy. We have other energy added by all the physical things like our tables, our chairs, our homes that we're creating within this realm. That's another layer of energy and another frequency that we're experiencing and being a part of. We have all the electromagnetic energy that's coming from the earth, that's coming from the cosmos, it's coming from planets, it's coming from our cell phones, our technology. So we have so many different layers of energy going on, and we're constantly moving within a sea of it. Our energetic body is constantly being fed. We're constantly pushing things off of us. So understanding that flow and getting to be familiar with your flow and the other ones around you and understanding how that really moves helps you understand your place and how you're going to move within that sea of energy as well. And that movement within that sea of energy is how we get into alignment. So for manifestation, for making sure that we're fulfilling our sacred contracts and our sacred purposes and all of that fun stuff. It's how we're able to pick up our information. It's how we're able to know that we're on the right path. It's really about inner guidance as well. And there's just so much energy. Literally, all of this is energy. It's just so much. So I really actually kind of talked a lot about why it's so important. So I don't know if I need to go much more over that. So I'm gonna jump in the chat just quick, just because that's a lot with energy, understanding kind of like really what it is and all of that fun stuff. I'm already using headphones. Is that for me, Morgan? Or for who can't hear me?
No, that was for the person who couldn't hear you.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, I'm using headphones already. I want to make sure if my son woke up, he got canceled out. Okay, I just want to make sure. Sounds good. Okay. So any questions, any comments? What are we guys thinking already when it comes to this concept of energy? Like how you guys are viewing it in your life? How are you working with it? Are you working with it? Again, if you guys have any questions, any comments so far? No? Okay. I always give you guys a little bit. Okay.
Honey Sons wanted to say hello, and she wanted to be here, but she had prior obligations.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I just lost you for a minute.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, I think my headphones disconnected. But yeah, I can hear you. But yeah, no. So just tell her thank you for letting me know, and I'm sorry that I didn't move class so she couldn't be here, and I understand. Okay.
Yeah, we all love her.
Yes, very much so. Let's see. Jen says, I've been trying to work with this last class. Awesome. I'm glad that you've been trying to work with it, Jen. And I know that, yeah, I know, and you're working with me in my boot camp right now. So you're really intensely working with your energy. So I'm really happy that you're working with that. Because I'm glad. Because
Yes.
understanding your energy and where that blockages are, it really helps and it moves flow within you. So
Enjoying the boot camp.
thank you. Like, oh, that's right, Michelle, you're in it too. And then Laura, I use energy when trying to keep clients in a calmer state. I'm curious what type of clients because I love that, and it's energy is great to help keep others calm. Especially like if you're really good with your energy and you have very compassionate and empathetic energy, and you can send your energy into others. Like I love being able to do that. It's something we'll talk about a little bit later too. It's actually kind of Reiki energy, Reiki healing energy when you really think about it. You can also use prana. You can use chi to move energy into others. So yes, I love that. I love that you use it. And you can use it to calm yourself too. I do that often. Or when I get like really, really panicked, like one of the first things that I do is energy. Breath work is a form of energy work. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But like when you're panicking and having an anxiety attack, and you're very intentionally like calling forth energy with your breathing and your breath work, it can be a very, very calming thing. And it can help with a lot of things with mental health and a lot of things. And that is working with energy. You're literally taking very calm, healing energy from the outside of your body and you're moving it into you through all of your energy points within your body, and you're refreshing, recleansing, and you're bringing a very calming effect throughout your whole system. So breath work is great for that. I love using it to calm myself and others. Reiki, like I said, Reiki is a way to calm others. Laura says, I work in a group home. The individuals, oh, for one, thank you for doing that. That is very amazing. And I know that it's hard work and sometimes it can be mentally exhausting. So I commend you for that. And then I think that's a great way to use it. I think that's amazing way to use it. And I love that. Raid Wolf, I do massage and pressure point work. I use work energy. Oh, yes. I think yes, that makes so much sense, especially with massage. You can put healing energy in there. You can put so much calming energy in there. And pressure point work is acupuncture and pressure point work. It's a form of energy work. Like you're literally connecting to different energy portals within the body. So that makes perfect sense. And I love that you're using it for that. How are people on TikTok? How people on TikTok are able to share their energy to the computer? It always feels warm and gentle. So it really depends on like how strong of an energy. It depends on like how strong of a connection you have to your energy. Because if you think about it, Jen, too, like we do everything through all of the classes that you've been to with me and through with me, like it's all been virtual. And I'm always using energy to summon deities. I'm using energy to summon entities. I'm using energy when I'm bringing you guys through guided meditations. I'm using energy when I'm bringing you guys through shadow work. So if you have the ability to really control and manipulate your energy, you have the ability to control where you're sending it and how you're sending it through. technology is simply a different frequency in a different way. Like it's simply just a different frequency of energy. So if you take your energy and you have the intention set very clearly that that's where your energy is going to be sent through, and you're going to be aligning it with that frequency of the technology that you're using, that's why you're able to project that energy through. Also, when I did my my circle casting class, I talked about how, like, with your energy and with your circles, you have the ability to create the stipulations for the boundaries and the filter of what gets to come within your energy field within that circle. The same happens with your energy. You get to stipulate and dictate where that's being sent. Yes, other energy can come and affect you. You are affected by other energy. That's why you have to have good energy hygiene, and you have to take care of your energy, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But like, you have the ability to make those stipulations of what frequency, what energy you're aligning with, and what you're going to use to emit that expression. So that's what I do every time we have class and when I summit. So that's why you feel that. That's how you can do that. Because like, you have the ability to align with that and to express it. And I'm very intentional when I teach to make sure before I start that, like, I'm very aligned and I'm very focused on that energy and that frequency with the form of technology that I'm using. Because I want to make sure that my message is very clear and nobody has issues with accessing that energy or that point. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Okay, any other questions or comments before we jump back in? Told you, energy is a big topic. We've gone through like like 3-4 paragraphs. Energy is both a big topic and a simple topic, but it's so important. Okay, so energy work specifically. I'm jumping back into the study guide, by the way. I don't know what page we're on. I think 2, 3. Energy work. What is energy work specifically, and what are some options out there for energy work? Honestly, there's so many options. I don't even have all of them listed in the study guide. I literally would be going forever, and it would be a lot of pages. And I don't know if we need another 150-page study guide like the protection. So I kind of like cut myself off, but there are literally a lot of different ways that you can work with energy. But energy work, very simply put, is tapping into the body's own frequencies to promote well-being. Any energy work is really any work that involves changes to the human energy field or your subtle body field. Most commonly, it's used as many parts of holistic healing regimens, or what people consider alternative medicine. It's very common in Eastern medicine. And the practitioners, usually what it does, and the main basis of it, is the practitioner makes adjustments to the flow of a person's life energy using various different types of techniques. Acupuncture is considered one, acupressure considered one. Guys, working with crystals is energy work, which we're going to talk about. And I think people forget that a lot of times. But literally just working with crystals and having crystals be a part of your life and intentionally like having them in meditation, that's energy work. That's realigning the energy in your body and directing where that energy is going. Reiki is another very common thing. Meditation is energy work. Centering, energy work. Grounding, energy work. For instance, is energy work. There's really a lot to endless possibilities. I'm going to talk more specifically about some later. But that is really the basics of what energy work is. It is really thought, and it affects both your subtle bodies and your energetic body and your physical body in various ways. It has physical health benefits, as mental health benefits, as spiritual health benefits, as energetic health benefits, so many different benefits too. All the different types of energy work. And it has been used for thousands. What's going on? What's going on?
Yes, I had a problem hearing you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can also.
Did everybody lose Kelsey?
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see.
Oh, there you are.
Hey guys, hold on.
I can hear you, Kelsey.
I do not know what happened.
Yeah, we lost you, I think.
Let me. Okay, can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Am I back in?
I can see and hear you.
Okay, can I get a thumbs up or something from somebody so I know?
I can see and
I
hear.
have no idea what happened. Literally, my headphones disconnected and. Okay, Morgan, I'm gonna take that as a you can hear me. Okay, let's see if I can hear you guys. I have no idea which that was the
I
weirdest
can
thing.
see and hear you.
Okay, hopefully this is working. Take that as
Can
a.
you hear me? Kelsey, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear Michelle at all. I don't hear her. What is happening? I'm gonna try. Hold on. I'm gonna try to do something here.
I can see and hear you, but apparently you
Okay,
can't
try
hear
talking
me.
again.
Come on, David.
Kelsey, can you hear me?
Yes, somebody else try and see if Kelsey can hear you. Please. Thank you.
I can hear everybody. Can everybody can hear me?
I can hear you.
I have no idea what. So hold on. I'm very sorry, and I'm very embarrassed.
Can you hear us yet, Kelsey? Come on, David. David. Come on. I gotta change it. Come on.
I did it. Okay, guys. I think I'm gonna have to try and see if I can get onto a different computer because this is not working. So just give me a couple minutes. I'm sorry. And I'm so embarrassed. And I will try and see if I can. Can you guys even hear me? Okay, so you can see and hear me, and it's not breaking up. Okay. I just am so confused because it said it's connected. Drop out, so that sucks. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I have really crappy old technology. So this laptop's like 13 years old. So, I apologize. Okay, so where was I? So energy work is the intentional effort to manipulate you or someone else's energy for spiritual, emotional, or physical healing. Like I said, there are literally like countless ways to do this, and it comes across many different cultures. So some of the examples that you'll see are you have the chakras, which is the most common energy system and energy work that you'll hear that people work with. That comes from Hinduism and Buddhism, and from India. You also have the meridians, which comes from Chinese medicine. Also, you have within the Chinese system, also kind of deal with prana a little bit. You also have chi within that system, medicine system as well when it comes to energy. You also have the three cauldrons, which is a Celtic system, which deals with three separate cauldrons of different type of cauldrons within energy that you have. You have aura, which is the concept of the different layers of energy outside of you in your aura energy field, that you have that. And that's very cross-cultural in Native American practices and a lot of indigenous practices. You have the medicine wheel, which is considered a form of, energy work and dealing with energy and the flow of the energy within the universe and within yourself. You also have Ojos de Luz, which is the Incan energy system, and there you literally could go on. Most people really only know about the chakras, but there are endless. I bring this up because if for some reason you have a hard time working with chakras and like the seven to, and also there's most commonly seven, some say nine, when it comes to chakra systems as well. But if you have a hard time working with all seven chakras, if it's a little bit too much information, if it just doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like your energy is even like sitting in the same spots, that's okay. And that makes sense because there's a lot of different belief systems out there for how our energy is structured within ourselves. So if it doesn't feel quite right, or if it feels like it's just way too much information because your energy is being split in too many different ways, I actually hear and I've read and I've heard from people like if you have ADHD or ADD, or if you struggle with like attention, sometimes like the seven chakras is just a lot. It's just too much information and it's just too much energy and it's just too much to focus on. So a lot of them actually really prefer working with the three cauldrons, or they prefer working with chi, or they prefer working with a little bit different of a system. So you can also take a look at that and think about that with your own energy and how that feels within your body and how your energy feels like it's sitting with you and which energy system belief you really want to work with. I personally work with the seven chakras. I also work with chi. I also work with the three cauldrons. I love the three cauldrons, especially when I'm really like overwhelmed. If I'm having issues with like depression or my OCD is getting really out of hand, a lot of times like don't deal with my seven chakras and I really focus on my three cauldrons, because the seven chakras can be a little bit too much to figure out like exactly where my blockage is, when I'm that overwhelmed and when I'm getting like that overstimulated. So that's also why we're gonna talk about that too. So energy work and magic, why we're talking about the two together, really because magic is probably the purest, most basic, oldest form of energy work that there is. If you really, really think about it, almost every single magical working, magical ritual, magical practice you're doing can be classified as energy work. Because, like I talked about a little bit ago, like magic simply is like the definition of magic is the manipulation of energy. And you're changing energy to get the outcomes that like you would like to get. Like that's literally what magic is, and that's all that like that's the juiciness. But also keep in mind, you don't have to practice witchcraft or magic to do energy work because we're all made of energy and everything is made of energy. So literally anybody can do this for any reason. You don't even have to practice magic to do it. Magic is just a form of energy work and it's just a way to manipulate that energy. And because of that, like it's like I just really is seen as really the most pure because it allowed that like the magical power and why we work with it and why we really work with energy and energy magic specifically is it really connects us to the divine. It also reminds us that we're divine as well. Like we're just as divine beings as the deities that we call on, as the multiverse that we exist in, as everything else that's within all of existence. It reminds us of our divinity, it connects us to our divinity, and it connects us to the multiverse and the universal divinity as well. And when we're able to combine that energy and we're able to move that energy and understand fully that energy and our magic, that power really allows us to merge and draw upon this really, really just ancient primal force and energy that we come from to be able to propel us in the direction that we want to go, and to help others if that's what we're using it for. So that's why we want to work with it and why we talk about energy work and magic together, is because they really just go hand in hand. When it comes to like the history of energy work and energy and the concept of energy, it's like I said, it's been around for thousands of years across many cultures. I mean, right now, the farthest back that I'm having people like that I'm finding in research dating is 5,000 years. But like I was talking about before everything cut out um, on me and got all wonky and Zoom, um, I don't, I always say that with a grain of salt because history is constantly changing. We're constantly learning more. There's so much history we haven't been actually taught. We don't actually know because governments hide it. Like there's just so much going on with history. But as far back as we know now is probably about 5,000 years. And it that concept's been there. That energy makes up everything in the universe, including our bodies and our mind. It's a newer concept in the Western world, but in the Eastern philosophy is like at least 5,000 years. China, India, like all around that region, like they really had understood this. They understood that, and in a philosophical way, they understood that, and they understood how to then manipulate it to create health, wellness, abundance. It became a very important tradition in a lot of ritual practices and religious practices. It became a very spiritual tradition, especially in India and China. Um, Typically, and actually specifically in India, the energetic work there is usually based on the belief of prana or the universal energy, which is that it literally breathes life into all things. In China, it goes by a little bit of a different name, which is qi. And qi is made up of those two opposing forces, which you hear yin and yang. So again, we also have that concept with energy too, which I talk about a lot in my shadow work and duality class. So if you want to really dig into duality and the yin and the yang and like what those two mean, go watch that class. Like I said, I'm a gray witch. Duality and the liminal space is my jam. And so like that concept of like the fact that two opposites exist at the exact same time and what duality really is, the yin and the yang, that energy I talk about a lot in that class. But that is another energy that you have to be aware of to work with. Like you have to be aware of the fact that like you also have those opposite energies that are creating balance within the multiverse. That is something that I do really talk about in that class. We'll take a peek at that. Next chunk we'll talk about is like the flow of energy. So all energy does flow, like it's constantly flowing and moving. We do and can create blockages that makes it to where the energy may reroute itself, but it doesn't stop flowing. Like it'll reroute itself into a different area and then that's where you end up getting imbalances. And the stream of life force of energy is literally, it's always flowing through you. It's flowing through me. It's flowing through everything that you see and think that you're actually physically touching, but it's really just a vibration there in front of you. It literally flows through all of that. It allows us to exist. It allows us to be connected to the natural world and the primal energy of the multiverse. This is why when we get out in nature, this is why we get so energized. This is why like earthing is such a big important thing to do, especially when it comes to energy work. That's why like grounding is such a big important thing to do when it comes to energy work. And by the way, if you did not see that class of mine and you're hearing me use those words like separately and you think that they're the same, they're not. You can watch that class. Grounding and earthing actually are different concepts. But both of those are great ways to work with energy. So if you want to learn why they're different, you can also check out that class too. It's already on you. But those are great ways to be able to connect with energy. But that's why when we do that, like our energy just feels so different. It starts to flow different. You literally feel those electrons changing and moving within your body system. Because we're really connecting to a very, very ancient primal energy that we exist from. And that is really when it comes to like the energy flow and the fact that like it's like I said, it's literally in and out and through everything. When you determine that there's a blockage there, I'll talk about a little bit later, like how you can unblock it. I'm going to do that specifically with the chakras here in a minute. But when you start to feel like a resistance, when you start to notice signs of what specific energy source could be blocked, one of the main things that you can do, for one, any of the ways I want to talk about later that you can work with energy, but really just make sure, start with breath work, start with making sure that you can ground and center yourself, however you choose to do that, and simply get outside for literally just a few minutes. Get that energy flow moving, get the currents of your energy moving within yourself, get new energy coming in and stale and stagnant energy coming out. And that's really going to start to even make you be able to kind of release some of those blockages. Outside, like again, we're going to talk about all the other ways we can do that too, but that's really the first places that you can start. And I also wanted to touch when it comes to energy as well, because we've talked about magic before I get into all these energy systems. Energy with magic is so important because you simply can use your own energy for so much magical work and rituals and practices, to where you don't even need any tools. You could practice magic and witchcraft your entire life and never use a single tool, never use a single herb, never use a single crystal, and simply only ever use your own energy, or calling on other energies like deities or demons or things like that. But literally, like energy is really, really important in the magical sense when it comes to that. Because you can simply use your own energy to create so much magic. There are a lot of even pagans and witches that's the ultimate divine entity and being that they believe in. That's it. They won't ever call on a god. They won't ever call on a goddess. They won't ever call on any type of entity because they believe and they understand like wholeheartedly, like the concept of energy, that energy is simply everything. Energy is the universe and it's us. Therefore, for us to create magic, for us to do witchcraft, for us to get anything that we want, all we have to do is use our own energy connected with the energy of the multiverse and whatever frequency we want to change, and that's how we make magic happen. Some people consider that simply manifestation, but you can, like I said, you can literally do witchcraft and magic and never ever use a single tool. Tools help, they can amplify, but you can literally do magic and never pick up a single tool. Every prayer, every invocation, every word you speak is a vibrational frequency of energy being pushed out into your energy to manipulate and change it. When you have that proper intention set, when you're centered in your own energy and you understand the power of your own energy, you simply just have to speak words. You also can simply just think. Your thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. Our thoughts, our emotions, all of it. So I really wanted to make sure I talked about that too. Like literally, energy simply can be all you ever need for magic. I can't remember if I've done this in classes with you guys, but I do know in some of my classes with my business, Mod Podge Mystics, that I own, I do offer classes and rituals and workshops through there, by the way, guys, that you can check out. But I do know through there, I have done some work with them when it comes to like being able to recognize and understand their own energy. And how you do that really is simply just making sure you're getting in a very grounded and centered state. And being open and opening up all of your consciousness. That's going to be the best word that I'm going to pick for this. You open up your consciousness to where you can see and actually feel what's around you. And you're just open to whatever you're viewing, and you literally vibrationally feel yourself pulling it to you. Sometimes you'll see it in colors, sometimes you'll see it in shapes, sometimes you'll simply just feel it. So it really just depends on like how you're trying to work with energy and how much you work with energy. But you have the ability to do that and harness that and pull on that to cast all of your magic spells, all of your rituals, to do all of your prayers, all of that. That's what all of that can be used for. So talked about that. I want to make sure I did not forget that. So Do you guys have any questions, any comments before we dive into energy systems, the different types of energy systems? And we're first going to start with the chakra systems because that's the most common one that everybody knows. And I want to make sure I go over that in a kind of detailed way. Honestly, I could teach an entire series that there's a 2-hour class on each chakra specifically, and I still wouldn't cover it all. But I do want to make sure you guys have kind of a detailed rundown. Any questions, any comments so far? Can everybody still hear me and see me too? I'm not using my laptop anymore, but it's fabulous. And I don't see any questions or any comments. Okay.
Can you hear us yet?
I can hear you now. I don't know what happened. I did
Oh,
nothing.
yay.
I did nothing. Okay. Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to check in and see if you could hear us yet.
Yep. Apparently I can now. Why? I don't know.
Well, don't feel bad. My technology is like ancient too, so I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll jump back in then, guys. I don't see any questions or any comments. So, energy systems. Like I said, there's lots of different ones. I think I put, I don't know how many I put in here. We'll talk about them though. Let's start with the chakra system. So, chakras are wheels of energy within our bodies, and they're interwoven within our auras. If your chakras are blocked, if you have negative vibrations or attachments, or if you have any illnesses occurring, those 7 chakras are like that's where you're going to feel that's where you're going to notice that, and you're going to feel off center, you're going to feel off balance. That's where you're not going to be living in alignment. Things are going to be, I mean, for example, if your root chakra is off, like you may have constant struggles with money, you may have constant struggles with making sure your survival needs are met. So it really connects to all of that, and that's how it's viewed and that's how it's seen. The 7 chakras are the main energy centers of your body. This is typically seen within Indian culture and practice within the Buddhist and Hindu religions. And the chakra translates to wheel in Sanskrit. So you can imagine that, like the wheels of free flowing positive energy, like that's really how chakras are seen to kind of like move and circulate throughout us. They're used to describe the way the energy moves throughout our body. And each of the 7 chakras are said to correlate with different abilities, different expressions, different types of help, different types of like different areas of your physical body, different needs being met, different like it aligns with each one has different alignments for so many different things. It is said and thought that each person has 7 major chakras. It really starts from the spine, from really like the bottom of the spine all the way to the top of the head. And it's really where your energy flows. And like I talked about before, it has effects on your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, your astral health, your spiritual health, all of it. When they're blocked or imbalanced, your energy really doesn't flow correctly, and it causes issues throughout literally every single essence of your being and who you are. You will see reverberations throughout all parts of who you are. So let's get into the 7 specific chakras. Your root chakra. Your root chakra is literally a spinning wheel of energy. It's located at the base of your spine. It's a color that's very dark red to black usually. It links us to the energy of earth beneath us. If you're grounded and connected to the earth energy and your root chakra is unblocked, it will be always moving freely. You'll attract financial prosperity. You'll have a level head. You won't have explosive anger. You'll have a very strong foundation, because that's really what it represents. It represents our foundation. It represents our stability. It represents our survival needs being met. It represents us having everything that we need. And like I said, it sits at the space of the spine. So when you look at most of those images of like meditation, you see people, sitting, cross-legged. It's really at the bottom and the base of the spine. This also, in some religions and some cultures and in some practices is thought to be the seat of the soul. Others think it's the heart chakra and in the heart space, but this is actually in some practices thought to be the seat of the soul as well. So that concept of being like really grounded, that's your foundation, is attached to that as well. When this is really open and it's not blocked, you also will feel like you have the ability to really kind of like withstand any challenges, kind of like you're grounded and solid, like it's like the base of like a mountain, and like you're just really, really grounded, and you're able to stand on your own 2 feet, and you're able to really just like overcome any obstacle. When it is blocked, you're going to feel a lot more scattered. You're going to have a lot more financial problems and money blocks. You're going to feel disconnected from the earth and be anxious a lot. You may have a lot of back pain and hip pain. And you may have some issues also with your spirituality, especially when it comes to ancestor work, because you're not going to be feeling very grounded to who you are. You're not going to be feeling grounded to like the roots in the tree, like the trunk and the tree base of who you are. Our ancestors also dwell in the earth. So roots of where the world tree is. Like, so if you're not connected to that chakra, you're not connected to the energy of the earth, you're gonna have a hard time being connected to that. You might have a lot of like generational trauma. You may have like unstable relationships with parents and things like that. It's really that center that connects us to that. It connects us to all of that. I can speak to this personally. This is my chakra I have literally the biggest issue with. It is the one I constantly have to maintain. I constantly have to do work on. It is the one that is constantly getting blocked. This one's a really core one for me. And so like I definitely can attest to this one. I have huge, like I don't even do ancestral work. I literally can't, because it's just that is just something I just can't. So I can definitely speak to that. Like when this is blocked, like you really have a hard time with that. It's a door that kind of it stays closed. You want to open it, but until you really fully open up that root chakra, and I know I'm not 100% there yet, and I fully will admit that. Just like I said, this is one I have the hardest time with. You're gonna struggle with that a little bit. And if you deal with any type of like generational trauma or issues, it might be a little bit harder to overcome them. Cord cuttings kind of can be a little bit harder too, because you might not feel like you're fully settled in cutting those core relationships that may need to be cut for your best well-being. Okay, next chakra, sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is the wheel of energy located between your navel and your coccyx, so like your navel and your butt, so it's like by your tailbone. It really spins in the area of your reproductive organs. It's the color orange, and your sacral chakra represents your sexual health and creativity. I don't have any issues with this chakra. I love this chakra. The sacral chakra, when it's unblocked, you express your sexuality in a healthy way. Creativity really flows to you in all aspects of your life. It really helps you and relates to your emotions and to the emotions of others, as in it helps inform you on them. It's not the one that's really meant to like help with emotional balance. It's the one that makes you able to actually understand what you're feeling, like to be able to even name your emotions and to be able to relate to the others and have compassion and empathy for others. It governs our creativity and our sexual energy. So like if you have issues with your sexual identity, your sexual intimacy, if you have sexual trauma that you're struggling with, I've had to work through blockages of the sacral chakra with this. Like this is kind of where that'll be sitting. And if this is blocked, you may feel like you also don't really have a lot of control in your life. You may feel like you really, really lack control, and you may be really craving it. Because this governs our sexuality, if it's blocked, you're going to have a really hard time to be able to express your sexual needs. You're going to be able to have a hard time to be able to express if you're even sexually satisfied. You may have a very low sex drive or just no sex interest at all. You may be confused about your sexual identity. You may struggle with even your imagination and creativity, and to be able to take things from your brain that you want to create and actually make it come to life. You may even have a hard time even imagining things that you want to create and putting it into action. You may have a hard time being creative in your sex life and being open to things in your sex life. If you have issues with this being blocked as well, you may end up having issues with illnesses like infertility or infections like urinary tract infections. Often you may get that often. For men, you may have prostate issues. Because it's also located in your lower intestines and your bowel, you may have severe issues with your digestive system. Like you may have really bad issues with your digestive system. Um, and also, like I said, mental clarity when it comes to creativity. You may have like sparks of ideas, but hard to actually take it and put it to action and to make it happen. Okay, I did 2 chakras. Let me jump into the chat to see if we have any questions before I move to the next ones. Okay, I'm in the chat. Any questions or comments on the first 2 chakras before we move to the next? Okay, I take that as a no. Okay, I'm gonna jump in then. So the solar plexus. Your solar plexus, in my opinion, and in almost every teacher I've had's opinion, when it comes to chakra, is probably the most important chakra in your body. It's located between the bottom of the sternum and above your belly button. The solar plexus is yellow in color. It connects us to the divine energy of the sun. It connects us to the divine energy of light. And with it being connected to the energy of the sun, that's literally our existence. We cannot exist without it. That is our self-esteem. That is our courage. That's our personal power. That's our bravery. That's our strength. That's our vitality. That is what all of that energy is. This is your confidence. This is where all of this sits. If you have a very healthy solar plexus, you're going to exude confidence, you're going to exude self-esteem, you are going to give no fucks about what anybody else thinks, you're going to do what you want, you're going to stand in your beliefs, you're going to have courage to fight for what you believe in, you're going to be strong in that, you're going to have personal power in who you are, you're going to be able to tackle goals with clarity, you're going to be organized, you're going to be incredibly ambitious, you're going to want to live life to the fullest, you're going to be full of confidence, you're going to be joyful and happy. If you're having issues with this chakra and it's blocked, you might have an immense amount of overwhelming shame and self-doubt. You may lack confidence, you may lack self-esteem, you may have issues with your body image. You may really struggle with recognizing that you have true power, you have true beauty. You may struggle with eating disorders. You may struggle with being able to even look at yourself in the mirror and actually be able to recognize who you are. You may struggle with even deciding what you want to do as a career. You may not be able to maintain healthy relationships or make friends. You may end up having digestive illnesses and problems surfacing with that. You may have a real issue connecting to your divine masculine energy. And that can create a real disconnection with the sun and your vitality and all of that. And a lot of times when you struggle with your solar plexus, depression can be a pretty big issue when you struggle with it. Solar plexus is actually the second one that I have the biggest struggle with. Personally, I really struggle with this one. It's really hard to hang on to that, to not have that block, to be able to have that full confidence and really like be able to fully stand in who you are and understand like your power. So definitely like I totally understand this one. I feel like this is a very common one that people have issues with, especially now today in society. And that's also why I think it's the most important one. It represents so much. I think it's the one that so many people. I mean, I may look confident and I may look like I have self-esteem and I do stand for what I believe in, but it's a struggle. Like it's a huge struggle for me. I've probably said it in class before, but like I sometimes actually even classify it as like my self-esteem got so low. It got to the point where like you don't give a fuck anymore. It becomes false confidence. So working with your solar plexus will also help you recognize if you're doing that and try to help you work through that where you're not doing that anymore. And you try to actually understand like your true power and actually have confidence in who you are. And this will also help if you have issues with self-worth as well and feeling like you're even worth. So if you're having issues with that, like this is a really big chakra to work with. And you may have blockages there. When it comes to the heart chakra, your heart chakra is located over and through your heart. It's in the middle of the left of your center chest. It's green in color. It manages all things related to love in your life, like romantic love, friendships, family members, self-love as well, which I think is so forgotten, and I'm definitely guilty of that. Whenever we're talking about the energy of love, self-love is included. It's not just loving others. So that really is governed in this space as well. Your heart chakra is really freely aligned. If you're really open, you're able to give and accept love freely. You maintain really healthy relationships, and you really love who you are. It creates this bridge between your lower chakras as well. So it's really associated with creating this bridge between the material and physical realm and your spiritual realm. So that's also why this space is really important, and why some cultures believe that this is where the soul sits, because it does create that bridge. Um, and then, as the name suggests as well, it is the place where it is the influence of your ability to even give and receive love. If this is blocked, you may not even have the ability to love others and to show them that you love them, and to be able to express that. And then you may not be able to express, others may not be able to express it to you if you're not able to receive it. Because it goes both ways. You can have that blocked and not even be able to even see when people are trying to show you love and you're trying to receive love from others. When your heart chakra is blocked, you also may end up having a tendency to engage in reckless behaviors. You may have a tendency to self-medicate, because you may feel a little bit empty and hollow. You may end up feeling isolated and lonely very often. You may get really overly defensive. You may have very hard time trusting other people. You can have heart and lung problems. You can have vascular problems. And you can honestly, like, sometimes that's where you get people that, like, they just move from relationship to relationship to relationship. They can never be by themselves. That's another issue that you can see popping up. If it's open though, like, you're gonna experience a lot of deep compassion and empathy for others, very healthy relationships. And you're just gonna really thrive in that light of love, and you're gonna want to express that to others, and you're gonna be able to receive it too. And you're always going to be able to value yourself and self-love, and make sure you do that as well along with others, and understanding that you can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself. So when that's open, you really have that ability to create that balance. Your throat chakra, just like it says, is located in your throat, really in the middle of your neck. It's blue in color, and it governs how you speak to others and how you speak about yourself. It is really like the holder and the key of communication. It relates to all forms of communication. This is writing, this is music, it's all forms of expression. It's how you express yourself, or if you don't express yourself. Um, if your throat chakra is functioning well, if it's open, like, you're going to be really able to communicate your feelings and your needs to others in a very healthy manner. You're going to be able to express your true self and who you are. This chakra gives you the ability to communicate the personal power you're connected to in both your heart, your solar plexus, and your sacral. Like, it's able to connect you to that personal power that you establish below and actually communicate it. It helps you to control that communication, to be able to actually express it and express it clearly. If it's blocked, you're gonna have a really hard time, like, finding the right words to say. You're gonna have a hard time being able to express your wants and your needs. You're gonna have a very, very hard time of telling the truth. You're going to automatically go to lies. You're going to pathologically stuff your feelings down and stuff them down till they explode. You're going to be afraid to express yourself. You're going to be afraid to express your truth. You're going to be afraid to communicate with others. You're going to be not a very good communication, like, with partnerships and relationships. You may have issues with your throat and digestive and thyroid problems when it comes to your physical health. So that's all of the throat chakra. Okay, let's see. I did those two. No, I did three. Let me jump back in the chat before we head into the third eye. Okay. Any questions? What can you do? What can you do if it's a medical condition? Well, for one, there are Eastern medicines that can be used for specific medical conditions, so you can choose to go that route if you would like, and try to see if doing a specific like a specific energy work medicinal like practice, like acupuncture, acupressure, like massage, like any of those type of things, you can try any energy work and see if it will help with a medical condition. Otherwise, you always want to make sure that like you listen to your doctors as well. Like it doesn't like you never have to supersede that. But you really have to do the research. It depends on what the medical problem is, and then what that medical problem is will attach to a specific chakra and energy center. And then you do the energetic work to help clear that and release that blockage, which will hopefully help with that medical condition. So for example, when I am having a lot of issues with like my self-esteem, and when I'm having a lot of issues with like being grounded and centered, when I'm having a lot of issues with my root, my solar chakra, both of those can kind of really affect your digestive system. And my digestive system gets way out of whack, like to the point where it's uncomfortable. Usually that lets me know that A, something's wrong, and that's my body letting me know that I have a blockage energetically and something's wrong. Once I start working with that energy and I start cleaning it up, my digestion gets better. I'm not getting nauseous all the time. I'm not puking. I'm not either being constipated or having diarrhea and going to the bathroom 10 times a day for literally no reason. Um, so it really like that's really just kind of how you look at it. You have to pinpoint what the medical condition is, figure out which chakra it's connected to, which energy center is connected to, pick which energy work is going to work for you to try to heal it, and work through that blockage and getting that unblocked to heal that. And then the medical conditions should either go away or lighten up. But again, also make sure you consult a doctor. I say that with all my classes. Okay. I don't see any other questions or comments. We'll jump back in. So, third eye. Your third eye is located between your brows and it's slightly above the bridge of your nose. It's purple in color and allows you to see the truth in others. It is the energy in your spiritual realms. It brings clarity of the mind and soul. When your third eye is open, you really see the beauty in the world and others. You're able to see auras, you're able to see invisible truths, you're able to really tap into that psychic awareness and intuition. So that's when this is open, that's when you kind of have when this is really open for people, those are the type of people that just they're able to literally just read through bullshit. Like you can't lie to them, like you can't deceive them. Like they know your clear intentions. Like if you're trying to say something and you have a different intention behind it, or you're not like they're gonna know immediately. Like they're going to be able like these are the people that like have the ability to like hear your words and like see right to the soul of what your intention is and right to the like the soul of who you are. When this is open, like you really have the ability to tap into that awareness and like really understand that. Is this is the ability to see that big picture. Like I said, it connects you to your intuition. Most people consider this like the eye of the soul. It's where you actually register your information beyond a surface level. This is where you go into your intuition to understand it much more in an energetic way. Um, when this is open, you're going to be a lot more intuitive. You might have access to more of your clairs. You're going to be more aware of your clairs and what abilities you have within your clairs. When it's blocked, you're not going to be able to see the beauty in others in the world. You're going to be really pessimistic. You're going to think that everybody and everything's out to get you. You're not going to see the signs of the universe going on around you. You're not going to be aware of synchronicities. You're not going to notice intuition. You're not going to notice if there's other entities or things coming around you. You're going to feel really disconnected from others, and you're going to feel disconnected from your own spirituality and your own magic. You're going to feel disconnected from your awakening process. You may end up with headaches often, sinus infections often, eye problems often, other head problems may occur. It's really commonly blocked for people who don't want to be around people in society. And so if people have a huge issue with social anxiety, this could be a reason why, is because this is blocked. because you just feel really isolated and disconnected from others because your intuition is just not open and you're just not aware of all the energies around you. You're not able to what's the thing? You're not able to see beyond what's in front of you. Which it just makes you really disconnected when you don't have that ability. The next chakra that we have, your crown chakra. This is our last chakra that we have in the chakra system that we're talking about. So your crown chakra is located at the very top of your head. It is typically seen as, it's a lot of different colors. Sometimes I see it as like an indigo, also white, usually white, but indigo is a common color that I'll see it attached to. But it is our direct link to the energy of the multiverse and the universe and all of that. So it is the direct link to the source that is the ultimate divinity. So whatever you think the ultimate divinity is, because we all have our own different views. Some people think that goddesses and gods are the ultimate divinity. Some people think it's the universe. Some people think it's the multiverse. Some people think it's us. So whatever you think that ultimate energy source is, that is what the crown chakra connects you to. It is your source of spiritual connection. It gives you the ability to see and hear any of your deity's voices, the voice of the source, the spirit, the universe, the multiverse, whatever it is. It's where you're able to actually accept your divine healing. It's where awakening happens. It's where you're able to feel the presence of your spirit guides, angels, demons, like any entities that you work with. This is where you're able to actually feel them and connect to them. This is considered your highest chakra. It's considered to where, like, when you are connected to this, like, you are fully connected to all of who you are spiritually. You're connected to your higher self. You're connected to your soul contract, your sacred purpose. By the way, I've said those words a lot. If you don't know anything about soul contracts and sacred purposes, I did teach a class on that. I don't know if it's on YouTube yet. If it's not, I know the study guide's on this website already, so you can take a look at that there. But I did teach a class on that, on how to access that, what it actually even means. When your crown chakra though, is blocked, you actually may not even believe in like a higher entity. You may actually have a really hard time figuring out what you believe. You may not really understand like how you feel about the hierarchy system within energy. You may not feel like you understand like what you believe in for divine entities. You may not have access to spirit guides. You may not be able to actually hear your divine guidance. You may not be noticing your synchronicities. You may not be aware of that. You may be completely not attached to any of your magic at all. You may feel completely alone and disconnected in the universe. If it's blocked, you may have issues with headaches and migraines and other neurological issues. Also, like sensory processing issues if you start to get overstimulated a lot, or issues with like dizziness or regulating your temperature. That can also be where this becomes an issue because your crown chakra is. I will say I've noticed that once I had kids, once I had my son, this became a lot harder for me to maintain. Um, it just because it's just a lot more noise and a lot more energy, and like when you become a parent and have children, like people don't talk about how you are literally like killing who you are and having to be reborn as a completely different person. So how you view yourself in the world just completely changes, and how you view the world completely changes. And I never even knew the word overstimulated wasn't even in my vocabulary when I had a child. But I will say that I've noticed like this is a lot more common. I think like once you have a kid and your place in this universe kind of changes. So if you've noticed that, this is a great chakra to work with. If you've noticed that that's an issue, where you're becoming overstimulated like because of children and being a parent and you're like your identity, like this might be a great way to look at that. Also, if this is blocked, you may be angry a lot. You may feel like you're super unlucky and you've like very bad luck when it comes to just life in general. And you may be really angry about past trauma still. You may not be able to get past that it shouldn't have happened phase when it comes to working through healing work and when it comes to working through traumas. If you're having a really hard time getting past being angry about the traumas that you've been through, and if you're having a hard time getting past that it shouldn't have happened part of the traumas, which is true, but you have to work through that and understand that yes, it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And now what? So if you're still stuck in the like it shouldn't have happened and you can't get to the next part, this is a chakra that you might want to work with. This might really help with that. And help you be able to like really push through that last like wall and barrier. I know for me, when it came to like trauma work, that was a really big wall and barrier for me, like getting past the like it shouldn't have happened walls. Like when I worked with my crown chakra, it really helped. Okay, we went through all the chakras. So I'm gonna jump into chat, see if you guys have any questions, and we're gonna talk about a couple other systems as well here, and then we'll talk about some ways to work with chakra, work with your energy. LOL, that's so true for you, third eye. I don't know what's so true, but I will agree with you. Okay. Any questions, any comments, guys? Before we jump into more energy systems? Okay, I'll jump back in then. That must mean I'm doing a good job. Or a bad one. Okay, so where am I at? So, another form of like energy systems that's used in throughout the world is you're gonna see in China the qi, the concept of qi. Qi is your life force. It's the energy that flows through you and through everything. It is that which gives life. So the concept of qi, so you can see it spelled CHI and QI, but it has its roots in traditional Chinese medicine and martial arts. But it's the idea that the vital life force and energy, its role in our health can be found in many different cultures. You see it in yoga, you see it all over the place, but qi is the energy that moves through the body like breath and blood, and if it's nourished by a healthy diet and enough sleep and movement practices, and however its qualities go beyond the physical or tangible, like you will actually be in very good health, very good alignment in all ways of your life. It can be just qi also is described as the purest energy that arises out of consciousness and awareness and stillness. It allows your body and all expressions of life to happen. Really, when it comes to like in very short, simple terms, the concept of qi is described as the essence of your true self. It's the bridge between your physical form and pure awareness. So, like we saw that specifically in your heart chakra, within the chakra system, like chi is considered to do that as a whole. It's considered to be the bridge as a whole. So it's that bridge between the form of which your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and your senses all become formless, and they actually become your consciousness and your awareness. Qi and the idea of qi can be formed, it is to be traced back to 4 centuries, at least 5,000 years. It's really considered a formless journey of being on a very spiritual path. There's lots of different ways to work with qi and practice and working with qi, like acupuncture, yoga, breathing exercises, working with your morma points. There's Tai Chi, which is amazing. There's different forms of martial arts with moving your body very specifically. Lots of different practices with working and strengthening your chi and removing blockages. So that is another form of energy system that we see within cultures. The next one that I'm going to talk about is actually going to be 3 Celtic cauldrons. This for me, I love the 3 Celtic cauldrons. I don't know how many people actually know about them, and I wish more did, so that's why I'm also going to bring it up. So what is it? Well, the Cauldron of Poesy is a medieval Irish bardic poem that actually talks about the trio of metaphysical cauldrons that are located within the human body. These 3 cauldrons the poem talks about are the cauldrons of warming, the cauldron of motion, and the cauldron of wisdom. Each cauldron is actually positioned in different parts of the human body, and they can be positioned in different positions as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. The cauldron of warming is located within the pelvic region in the depths of our bellies. The cauldron of motion is located in the center of our chest where our hearts and our lungs reside. And lastly, the cauldron of wisdom can be found within our head or sitting on top of it like a crown. So I'm going to stop here just for a minute because I have already broke it down like 3 different ones and kind of what they all represent. I love this system, and I talked about before, especially like when I'm overwhelmed, because if you look at the breakdown, it's a lot more simple. Also, you get that sacred connection to 3. And for those of you who've been in class with me before, you know I personally have an affinity with 3, plus you see 3 as a sacred number across many different cultures and practices for many different reasons. And just 3 is just yummy to me. I love the number 3. That energy, just that frequency. But so that's also why, like, I feel like this system is like really, really important to know about, because you can connect that sacred connection of that number, that power, that frequency as well. It's a lot more simple. And I just like the way it's broken up too, like how they have things mixed together with what they represent and what they all mean. So I wanted to put that disclaimer here. And then we'll go back here. So the poem further explains that when we're born, spiritual cauldrons are situated differently. So upon birth, the cauldron of warming is actually found in an upright position, which basically it's how we expect a cauldron to normally sit. So it's really just like sitting like a cauldron is supposed to sit. And it is said that it contains the basic energy and wisdom that we need to live, breathe, grow, and our survival instinct. So this is really like the base, like this is everything that we need to survive. This is like our basic functions. This is like what we do to just simply exist as humans and survive. It can be upset by sickness or unhealthy choices, though. And if it is, its position can tilt and move. And if it tilts and moves, that's when you can kind of see those imbalances. The cauldron of motion is supposedly on its side when we're born, meaning that it is partially empty. It is situated close to our heart, and it connects the cauldron of motion to what inspires us. Like, this is our energy for inspiration. This is our energy of movement. It's literally what makes us move to do. So as we pursue what we love and we immerse ourselves in our culture, we immerse ourselves in society, we immerse ourselves in existence and living and actually like thriving, not just our survival needs, the cauldron starts to shift into an upright position to where it's supposed to sit. And when we deny ourselves any type of emotional exploration, if we deny ourselves artistry, if we deny ourselves creativity, if we deny ourselves things that truly make us happy, if we deny ourselves thriving, we feel drained, we feel imbalanced, our cauldron will start to dip again. And we can flood ourselves with imbalance, and physically and mentally, we get just overwhelmed. The last cauldron that we have is we come into the world of the cauldron of wisdom. Cauldron of wisdom is completely overturned and empty. This cauldron guides our spiritual development, it exploring our divine and our own places in the universe and within each other. We can actually get it upright and fill this cauldron as we become aware of our purpose and we seek wiser choices on our path. We fulfill parts of our sacred contracts and our sacred purposes. So we can take it, and like I said, it starts completely empty, because when we're born into this world, like, we have to spiritually develop, we have to explore the divine, we have to explore and remember who we are, we have to remember our soul, we have to become reacquainted with our soul, we have to become reacquainted with our magic and our power. And when we do that, we have the ability to then take it and turn it upright. But not everybody does that. So some people's cauldrons may stay upside down, empty forever. So it's really up to you on if you want that cauldron to tip and if you want it to change. When you have that upright and you feel that cauldron up, it means that you know what your sacred purpose is, your sacred contrast purpose is, and you're making wise choices to fulfill that and to stay on that path. Each cauldron can, like I said, be positioned in one of the 3 positions. It can be upright, it can be tilted, or it can be upside down and inverted. That position really indicates the ability that that cauldron has to function for you and what that's going to be bringing into your life. An upright cauldron can hold and cook its ingredients, and it can serve its purpose, and it can do what it wants, and it can burn bright and healthy, and it can create what you want it to create. A tilted cauldron allows some of the ingredients to actually slip away and leak and not all be used, which can create things to not be whole. And an inverted cauldron, an upside down cauldron, it literally can't hold anything. it can't hold anything, it can't progress, it can't serve its function at all, and it can't do what it needs to do, and you won't be in alignment, and things are not going to happen. I talked about it a little bit, but why you should really use this method is, like I said, it resonates with a threefold idea, which has been viewed across human consciousness and divinity for a very, very long time. There are multitudes of practices and belief systems that talk about it. Even in modern Wiccan today, modern Wicca, modern Witchcraft, like we see that 3 parts of our physical self, our animal self, our spiritual self, our conscious self. We see it represented when people worship the triple goddess, like that concept of divinity and freeze is very common. It's a very potent concept. So that's why it's really important to kind of maybe choose that one. So another way to work with energy that you'll see is actually working with a Kabbalistic tree of life in Jewish mysticism. That is energy work. And it is described in a 2,000-year-old poem. It describes the 10 Sephirot and the 10 energies, and it's the basis for the tree of life. It's a map that's literally considered through Jewish mysticism in the mystic school by Rabbi Isaac the Blind, and it depicts the flow of energy from the infinite source above to the infinite source below. And when you work with the Kabbalah, the tree of life, it really becomes this very pragmatic tool for how you see things, how you view energy, how energy moves, how to manifest things, and how to connect to that. So when you work with that and you do that practice, that's also energy work. It's another energy system that you can look at. I'm not going to go into much more detail about that one because we actually have a really amazing like sigilization class that kind of that focuses on this that you can check out. It's really great. And you get to actually like meet a lot of the entities and beings that exist within the tree of life, and it's fabulous. The next type of energy system that you'll see and you'll hear is prana. Prana is considered a life force, simply means energy. All matters in the universe are made up of this energy. It's not just about our physical body we're talking about here. We're literally talking about everything, our thoughts, our feelings, all energetic waves. This is really the concept that I talked about in the very beginning of what energy truly is. That's really prana. Like prana really defines that. Prana actually can be measured through proper instruments, and it's in pranic healing requires no physical touch. Most often it's used through a 3-step healing process, which really accelerates your body's inner healing and your ability to heal at all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Lots of different types of practices to do prana healing, but most often, like I said, it's no touch, it's all energy. Reiki would be considered working with prana. So that is another concept of an energy system you'll hear and see. You also have the medicine wheel, which is a concept of energy. The medicine wheel, which sometimes you'll see it referenced as a Sundance circle or a sacred hoop. And it is an ancient and sacred symbol of many indigenous tribes. And it signifies the earth's boundary and all the knowledge of the universe. The indigenous medicine wheel represents the alignment and the continuous interaction of the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual reality. It is known as a sacred hoop, and it's been used for generations by various indigenous tribes for health and healing. It embodies all the energies of the 4 directions. It embodies the Father Sky, the Mother Earth, the Spirit Tree, and all of the energies of life. It represents the dimensions of health, the cycles of life, and all of that. So that is another system that you'll see that you can work with when it comes to energy. And then you also have quantum healing that I want to touch on just because it's a little bit newer. Well, it's actually a lot newer. It's actually fairly new. Because it's actually a term that's coined by Deepak Chopra. If you don't know who Deepak Chopra is, he's a pretty popular, well-known, I guess he's really known for like manifestation, alignment, and meditation and quantum healing and all of that fun jazz. He likes to blend like neuroscience and psychology and philosophy and quantum mechanics and a lot of different things. He's got lots of books too, and lots of healing. Sage Goddess actually even had him as a special guest in her Living Magic class. But quantum healing is a pseudoscience mixture of ideas that really draws on quantum mechanics, psychology, philosophy, and neurophysiology. So the advocates of quantum healing, what they claim and what they assert are that there's a quantum phenomenon within the energetic field that governs our healing and well-being. It's a term, like I said, it was coined by Deepak Chopra, and he really just describes how our thoughts and beliefs and our attitudes affect the way we experience illness and health in our lives. So to me, it really is just another term for energy work and manifestation. But you will see this verbiage and you will hear this and you will hear it as a type of energy work and healing that you can do. And it typically does have a pretty like specific step system to it. But it really focuses on having control over our brain and our nervous system as well. So that's why it's also a little bit different, because you also have that neural physiology that pulls in. Okay, I'm going to jump into the chat because we've talked about all the different types of energy systems that I'm going to talk about today. But remember, I didn't touch all of them. There are many. There are countless throughout all the cultures. Like throughout the world, there have been so many different forms of energy that you can call in different types of energies. Okay, I'm going to jump in the chat, and then next we're going to be talking about working with your energy and how you can work with your energy, and then that'll be the end of class. Oh, thank you guys for telling me I'm doing great. I love that. I appreciate that. I love forest bathing. Yes, Michelle, I love forest bathing. I talk about that extensively in my grounding and earthing class, by the way, guys. So, like, if you want more information on that, definitely go check out that class. That one's already on YouTube. The study guide's already on the site too. But I talk about that extensively. I love forest bathing. It's hard for me to get to like an actual forest in Minnesota, but I can get into the woods. So.
Yes, I actually learned it from you from your one of your other basic classes. And I love it, absolutely love it, and learned so much from that class. So you guys, you gotta check out her other videos. They're awesome. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, do we have any questions or comments about any of the energy systems I talked about? Were you guys familiar with any of the other energy systems outside of like the chakra systems?
Some.
Okay. Good, I'm glad. That makes me feel better. Because all I ever see is chakras everywhere. Okay, let's jump back in. So working with your energy, you've probably heard others talk about raising their vibe or going to a higher vibration. When they're saying that, they're really simply talking about energy work. That's really what that is. So when you raise your vibration, you become really consciously aware of your mental and emotional states. And as this awareness increases, so does the perception of what you actually have blocks. So you have to really keep in mind that like while this is all super good information, a lot of people really think that raising your vibrations means that you're going to feel lighter and better and just like peachy rosy keen right away, and that you're going to be stepping into this just like fantasy world of rainbows and unicorns and sunshines and like everything's just positive and happy all the time. But that's not what that is. When you raise your vibration, it actually can be a pretty messy process. You're gonna go through some darkness. You're gonna have to confront in order to work through blockages. You're gonna have to push through that blockage and confront it and actually work through it and be able to understand what was happening, so the blockage doesn't keep coming up. So it can get messy. It can look dirty and gross, and it can be really hard, and you may want to stop and not keep working on raising your vibration ever, because it's just doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere, but you actually are. You have to push through that mucky icky and that stuff that you just don't want to experience, but you really need to in order to actually raise your vibration and to get to a higher frequency in order to understand yourself better. So let me give you an example. So let's say, for an instance, you feel like your heart chakra, you've been having issues with your heart chakra, or you're just really struggling with loving others and you want to be able to be more loved. So you really start to work on raising your vibration specifically with the energy of love. You really start to focus on that. You start to work with your root chakra. You start to work with that energy. But in order to do that, in order to be able to hold more love, in order to be able to receive more love, in order to be able to express more love, you first have to know why you're so out of line with that frequency to begin with. You first have to be shown why you can't already hold that much love. You have to understand like why that's happening, and typically those aren't fun reasons. That's not stuff you want to think about. That's not stuff you want to deal with. If you want to hold more love, you're going to have to see things like hatred and trauma and rejection and disgust. All of that's going to come to the surface of what you've been feeling, because you have to clear all that stagnant energy out to create more space to hold more of that love, to change that vibration, to change that frequency. Like, you can't leave that stale, stagnant energy there. It has to be removed in order to hold more. You can't just keep jamming things in and expect the space to expand. The space is what the space is. So that's why, like, when you're dealing with raising your vibration, like, it's not this fantasy world. It's not going to be this like sunshines, rainbows, hearts everywhere. Like, you are gonna have to experience some of that shadow. You're gonna have to experience some of those things that you don't want to experience in order to create room so you can experience what you want to experience. So you can have that open. You can have that be in your life. So just make sure that like you remember that when you're doing this and you're raising your vibration and raising your energy. How do you do that? Lots of ways. Any of the energy ways that we're going to talk about after this is how you can raise your vibration, how you can get onto a different frequency. Any of the energy work we're going to talk about. If you do any healing work with your trauma or past memories, that's going to release old energy. That's a great way to start. Grounding, centering, working with that, doing anything that you can do that's going to align you to the energy and frequency that you want, like color magic, eating specific foods that are going to attach to that specific energy. You can have spell jars, spell bags. You can do so many things to make sure you focus on that specific energy intention. Also, simply being in nature is a really, really big thing that will help with that. When it comes to raising your vibration as well, making sure your thoughts are in alignment with the vibration, the frequency, and the energy you want to be connected to. If you want to be connected to the energy of love more, but your thoughts are constantly talking about how you hate yourself, how you hate your partner, how you hate your life, how you hate everybody else around you, and how nobody loves you, you don't deserve love, it's going to be really, really hard to be on that frequency, to be connected to that energy of love and actually be able to experience it. So making sure that that is also aligned and connected as well is really, really, really important. It's listed in my ways to work with energy, so we're gonna get to that too. But it came up, and I just have to talk about it. And I know that that is a million times easier to say than it is to do. There are so many skills to try to make sure you keep your thoughts in alignment. You can use affirmations, you can use mantras. There's so many DBT skills like checking the facts that you can use to make sure that you're aware of what's going on in your thought process. So, other ways to work with energy. I've talked about it a couple times. You have Reiki. Reiki is a Japanese style body work. It's founded by Miyako Usai. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, which is I say that all the time. I do most of my study through reading, so sometimes I pronounce things wrong. It's okay. Um, the name translates to spiritually guided life force energy. It's a spiritual and vibrational healing intervention without any involvement of physical manipulation. It's a really spiritual way. It's not religious at all. It's all based on intent and the vibrational fields. And it's all about realigning the vibrational field and the energies to help with treating ailments. And it's also a lot of times used as a supplemental treatment for recovery and to enhance your life. This is a great way to make sure your chakras are aligned, and if you have any blockages, how to get those blockages out. If you want to know more specifically about Reiki, I mean, I do know about it. You can always ask me questions. Otherwise, we have an amazing class already on our YouTube page. I have the link in the study guide for the playlist that you can go watch. It's really great. And Reiki really also specifically works with Kundalini energy, which is an amazing awakening energy. Kundalini really is considered more specifically your awakening and enlightenment energy. And it does kind of really focus on that too. Another way that you can work with energy is through polarity therapy. This method was founded by an osteopathic physician, Randolph Stone, in 1947. And polarity therapy is a holistic wellness practice. It's used in a lot of different alternative medicine practices. It's considered both to be Ayurvedic, which is talk about in a minute, but that's based off of Sanskrit and Hinduism in India, and traditional Chinese medicines. Its intent with it is to rebalance the distribution of energy throughout your body. It uses a mix of body work and exercise and nutrition, and counseling to alleviate and prevent health issues. This is actually becoming a little bit more common in cancer treatment. It's becoming a lot more common to use with cancer patients to help with their quality of life, their mental health, and to relieve pain. I've found quite a few studies about that. The next energy work that we'll talk about here is Ayurveda, which again, I'm probably mispronouncing. If I am, I apologize. But it's derived from the Sanskrit word Aryu, which means life, and Veda, which means knowledge. So it's translating to the knowledge of life. This is a natural medicine practice which originated in India a little over 3,000 years ago. And it's based on the idea that diseases are actually the result of an imbalance in one's consciousness. So in India, Ayurvedic medicine is actually regarded as equal to what is considered conventional Western medicine. It is just as equal, it's just as important, it is just as valid, and it is used just as much. It really starts with internal purification process, and then you end up with a special diet, then herbal remedies, massage therapy, yoga, meditation. It's a lot of different things mixed together with that. But the primary concept of it is that all of those practices create a universal interconnectedness between the body's natural constitution and its life forces. So that's why herbs, plants, and oils and all that are very commonly used. When it comes to this, though, be careful if you're in the United States because we actually don't have any national standard right now for this. So you make sure you research your practitioner if you choose to work because they could actually know nothing. I'm just saying that as a disclaimer to be cautious because like there is actually no national standard in the US right now for this. And I double checked that it hasn't changed in a few years. The next thing that you can do, which I talked about, is centering. Centering gives you a perspective of your very own energy. Centering really helps you work with your own energy. This is where, when I'm talking about, you get into a meditative state, you do your breath work, and you start to really physically and visually pull all of your energy to literally right in front of you. Typically, I create mine into a ball. A lot of people like to visualize white energy or golden energy because that's how they like their energy to view, but your energy may be a different color. Mine sometimes changes, but it's typically gray and obsidian because that's the energy I like to work with. So that's what centering is. It's really making you aware of your own energy. It's allowing you to differentiate between what's yours and what's the environment around you. Centering really is like cleaning up your house after like several weeks of not taking care of anything, and you have half finished projects everywhere, you have clutter everywhere, your kids' toys are just everywhere, you haven't put them away in their playroom, your dishes are piled up, and you haven't unpacked anything. So like your material possessions are just everywhere. So you want to go and clean up all of your energy. You want to take everything that's scattered and you want to pull it back to yourself. Like that's really what you're doing with it. You're cleaning up your house of your energy and you're getting it all nice and clean and tidy and you're taking care of it. You're making sure anything is attached is coming back. You're making sure if you're spread too thin that it pulls back in and you can reinforce it. It reattaches literally all of your energy back to yourself so you're whole. And that's really, really what centering does for you. In the study guide, I do have a method that you can do specifically, so you can read that and figure out if it's going to work for you and how you want to do that. Otherwise, in my protection class, I talk about centering. In my grounding and earthing class, I talk about centering. And in my shadow work class, I talk about centering. So you can also watch more about that there too. Grounding is another type of energy work. So grounding is a term used to help center and calms a person's energy and emotions, and it's specifically connecting to the frequencies of the earth and the ground. This is different than centering. Centering is working with your own energy. This is using the earth and the earth's healing frequencies to help get that energy focused. Grounding is a way to connect to the earth and to your purpose, and it gives you an opportunity to really stand strong in your intentions, to stand strong who you are, and to really start moving that free, natural, flowing energy through you. If you want to learn more about grounding, study guide then here. I also linked the video for you in the study guide because I did a whole entire class on that, so I don't want to take up any more time in class with that. The next way that you can do energy work is breath work. Breath work is energy work because the air, everything around us is energy, and you are moving and circulating your energy through your body and through all of your energy centers when you are taking those deep breaths in and out. So what is breath work? It's breathing, but not quite like you know it. So breath work is really like an active meditation. It's when you change your breathing pattern intentionally to boost mental and physical and spiritual health. So breathing, it really helps move that energy. It helps facilitate movement in and around your body. It helps draw in that divine energy into you. And it's a very, very powerful experience. And it's a very particular way to direct your energy as well. It's a way to also send out any negative energy that may have accumulated and may have stored up that's stagnant and just needs to get out. When it comes to breathing patterns, it's like I said, it's making sure you're doing a very intentional breathing pattern for breath work. The most common one people know is the box breath breathing, which is when you do, the 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, breathe in. Like the box breathing method is the most common one, but there are so many different versions of breath work that you can look into and figure out what's going to work best for you. But that is energy work, and that's moving that energy. The next one that we'll talk about is going to be sound healing. Sound healing is a very powerful therapy that combines different healing sounds, music, and sound healing instruments to improve our multidimensional well-being. It creates a very beautiful experience where it layers energies within our energy field. It helps us feel awakened in a more gentle and integral way. Sound is vibrations, which is energy and frequencies. So when you're using different sounds and different frequencies, you can change and realign your energy and your frequency because we affect each other. I love sound healing. Sound bowls are amazing. Drumming, I love drumming. If you meditate and you need sound in the background, like that's a type of sound healing. It's helping you get into the right energy alignment. Like I said, very common ones are using Tibetan singing bowls. You have gongs, drums, tuning forks, so many different ways. Meditation music, meditation sounds. Also, the next thing I'm going to talk about is working with crystals. Crystals, you guys, that's work. That's energy work. You're literally using a crystal as a tool to harness a specific energy, to connect you to a specific energies. And crystals come directly from the earth, and they are connected to the vibrations of the earth, and they're connected to so many different energies for meditation, for medicine and healing and movement and all of that loveliness. So anytime you're working with crystals for any purpose, that's energy work. You are very intentionally trying to redirect your energy to a specific frequency and alignment. So when you're working with crystals, you're also going to be able to help clear out blockages. You're going to be able to help make sure your energy is flowing in the right way. I will end up adding graphics to this once I get this to the website. I just didn't have time. So you'll get a bunch of options for certain crystals that will work with certain chakras. So I will add that for you. But you can also, there's so much research out there. Typically, if you use a crystal that's the same color as that chakra, typically you're good. I'm just as a disclaimer, like typically you're okay with being able to have that attached, that energy and that frequency. But also just make sure you do your research and look into them because there's so many different answers for what crystals can be used for what. I talked about it before, but thought alignment is a very important key to working with energy is using your thoughts. Energy follows our thoughts. Using our thoughts and our imagination, they're tools for directing and manipulating and controlling energy. With every thought we think, energy reacts to that thought by moving and changing the energy around us. And when it moves and manipulates the energy around us, it changes our reality. So when you're able to use our thoughts, you're able to change that frequency, you're able to change that vibration, that reality that we exist within too, and you're able to create a very intuitive guidance system for your energy throughout that language. So again, just making sure that that energy and those thoughts are aligned. When it comes to protection and energy, because you want to be able to protect yourself from other people's energy is going to affect you. There are ways that you can shield yourself from unwanted or negative energy. I hate using the word negative, but I put it in there because most people do. But I like to use the word unwanted because negative is subjective. What one person thinks is negative, another person may not. So unwanted, I like to use that instead. But how you can shield yourself from unwanted energy. Because, for example, if you're really sitting in energy of self-esteem, empowerment, joy, happiness, but you're in an environment where you're around a lot of depression energy, a lot of anxiety energy, you're going to start to feel that too. Like it's going to start to affect your energy. You're going to start to affect you because it's loud. It's a louder energy. It's a little bit more intense energy. It's a little bit more aggressive and it starts to absorb things around it. So how do you protect yourself from that? Well, for one, having good energy hygiene all the time. So making sure that you're working on cleansing yourself, making sure you're focusing on working with your blockages and all the ways that we've talked about previously in class, making sure you're aware of your blockages, making sure you're aware of your energy, you're working with your intuition. You're doing those grounding meditations to actually physically be able to connect to and be aware of how your energy feels. So making sure you're having that good hygiene energy, you're clearing yourself, you're cleansing yourself, you're aware of it, you're making sure you're keeping things open and moving, you're not letting things get blocked up for a very long amount of time. That will help protect yourself right off the bat. Otherwise, other ways that you can protect yourself is making sure that you have a shield up. You have the ability to shield yourself. You also have the ability to pull your energy back into yourself. When you pull your energy back into yourself, that's a way of protecting yourself. And that's a way that you can guard and heal your energy as well. But when you're shielding yourself, one of the first things you want to do is you want to make sure you have all of your energy present. So you're going to want to ground center. You want to make sure you pull every bit of your scattered energy back to yourself. You want to make sure it's close to your physical body and that it's set with your intention. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to imagine a shield. You could do it like a force field. You can have it be a wall made of steel. You can have it be made of titanium, diamond, obsidian. You can have it literally just whatever you want this shield to be. You create it and imagine that. You decide what it wants to be. So that's one way that you can another way that you can protect yourself is literally just by creating that shield to put up in front of it and create yourself from that energy that you're feeling. Otherwise, you can literally just make sure you physically move away from that source. Physically get away from whatever that source of energy is that is very unwantedly affecting you. That way you can then do some more energy hygiene to help call your energy back to you, make sure that you protect yourself, it's clean, and you're not being affected by that energy anymore. It may sound really simple, but the environment that you're in is the energy field that you're in, and it's going to affect you. So if it's affecting you that much, you need to physically get out of that source of energy. Another way that you can shield yourself and protect yourself is probably like the most common one that I hear people using, which is like an energetic egg or like a bubble shield of protection that you can use. And you use that to where you decide that it only allows what's wanted to come in and anything that is unwanted is going to bounce off. You create that filter. So you do this by, like before, you get grounded, you get centered, you call every bit of your own personal energy back to you to where it's literally in this little ball or egg in front of you, however you want to view it. And then you take that energy and you either can keep it there to where it just bounces everything out, or my favorite is you take it and you expand it. So you take that energy and you visually and physically take this ball and you expand it and expand it and expand it and expand it and expand it until it's viewed as like this egg or bubble that's completely surrounding you. You can have it be as close to you as like a second layer of skin, or you can have it literally be like a sphere and a bubble around you. You can have it be elongated like an egg, whatever the vision is that you want, but it can be a shield that literally encompasses you. Once you got it to the place that you wanted, you can make sure that you do breath work to lock it into place and that that intention of protection is there. And then that shield will be set. You, while you were setting that, should have been setting the intention of what was wanted to come in and what was unwanted that's going to bounce off. And then you have that shield set in place, which will help protect you from unwanted energies. If you want to test it out and see if it's proper and in place, one thing that I like to do is I literally sit there, and once it's in place, I visualize like another tiny piece of energy like coming out from like my center heart space, and it literally protrudes out, and I push on my barrier to see if I can push out and if it's going to break and like pop it all. And if it's not, then I know, like, and if it bends and moves with it, then I know if I have it locked and set in place correctly. Also, I will then sometimes even just specifically and like on purpose go into a physical environment of energy that like I just clearly don't want to be in. And I see if I feel any leaks coming in through anywhere. And if I do, then I go back, I do my energy hygiene, and I reset that energetic field again. You have the ability to shield yourself in that way. Shielding, like I said, is a way to keep your energy safe. It sets up a barrier to separate other people's feelings, other people's emotions, other people's thoughts, other people's energies from entering your space that are unwanted. And it can help prevent energetic vampires from draining your energy. It can help from other spiritual and magical attacks and other unfriendly things, like so many different things. You can also build your shield to protect anything that you want, you, yourself, your loved ones, and it can look however you want this energetic field to look. This is your energy. You get to manipulate it and control it. So if you want to visualize a whirlpool or a hurricane of water swirling around you because you just don't feel like the bubble shield or an energetic, like an egg shield's enough, go for it. If you want it to be big gusts of wind or like a tornado that's blowing around you because you're connected to the element of air, go for it. You want it to be a sphere of burning flames that literally just incinerates anything that's unwanted that tries to come close to you, go for it. If you want it to be mountains of really solid impenetrable rock that are in front of you, you can have it be that. If you want it to be a tangle of thorns sticking out with beautiful flowers and they have to try to like go through this like twisted, viney, poisonous, like flowery, like wilderness, you can have it be that. If you want to be clouds of smoke that literally simply just obscure you from enemies where they can't even find you, see you, they're just confused, you can have it be that. It literally is up to you. This is your energy that you get to choose to manipulate and dictate. Once you are familiar with it, your imagination and your energetic, like, it is totally up to you. Okay, I know I'm a couple of minutes over, but that's everything I have for class in the study guide. So, do you have any questions? I'm also going to check in the chat right now. Lisa said yes. I don't know what, but that makes a lot of sense. With shadow work, yes, Morgan. Thank you for being here. It looks like you probably left, but thank you. Can you tell if someone has? I don't understand your question, Michelle. I need you to elaborate on that question. But Morgan, would shadow work help? Yes, 1,000%. Yes. Shadow work would 1,000% help raising your vibrations because you're changing your alignment. You're changing how you view certain energies, how traumas are going to affect how your chakras, they're going to affect how you're thinking, how you're feeling. They're going to help, like, doing energy work will also like help be able to even do the shadow work too, because it'll help make you be more open and receptive to it. Okay, so Michelle, can you tell if someone has a block? Are you saying, can you tell if somebody else has a shield up?
No, I was wondering if you can tell if somebody has a blockage since you went through the courses of Reiki and chakra and all that.
Oh yeah, I offer services for that.
Oh,
In my
cool.
business, I do offer services for that. I do actually do that. I can help you I can recognize your blockages. My mentor that I learned from, she's amazing at that. Boston, she's amazing that I learned for that, like when I took her class. But yes, you can do that. And then I do that as well. I have a really awesome technique that I do to where you are actually used as a pendulum yourself. And with certain questions and answers and the way that you move, I'm able to read your chakra and your energy as you're moving to determine where your actual blockages are. You can ask Katie. She actually did this with me. But yeah, I do offer that. It is something that I can help with and I can do.
Well, since I'm already used to working with you, I would prefer to work with you
Yeah.
since you already know how to do it. So I guess I'll talk to you about that later.
Yep, you can definitely do that. Go on my website, modpodmystic.com. I have the information about it. And like you can book me through there and you can send me a DM too. So I can
Okay.
definitely help with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
You're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's see you in the chat. You're welcome, Lisa. And then Red Wolf. Wonderful stuff. I love the part of using the energy of self-best democracy. Yes, thank you. I really appreciate it. And like I said, like I love energy. That's why I love energy work, because it really can just be you. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, guys, I don't see any other questions. I don't see any other comments. Thank you guys so much for being with me. If you loved class today, remember, send us a direct message at Divination to enroll. That way you can enroll and get access to a lot more. And then you can also check out my business and my site, modpodmystic.com. I'm also on Facebook. Like I offer lots of services and I do a lot of content there and I do a lot of stuff there. So you can check me out there too. Thank you so much for being here with me today, you guys. Thank you for being a couple minutes over and waiting with me patiently. And thank you for working through the technical issues. I appreciate it.
I have one more question if we have just a minute. Sorry. What would you say about people that feel burned out? Like to me, that seems like a displacement of lots of energy, all of your energy just about. But what would you recommend in terms of how to deal with that and help?
So I deal with that a lot. I have OCD, so I go intense with a lot of things and I do a lot. So I understand overwhelm and burnout. For me personally, when I work with my solar plexus and I work with my heart and my root chakra, those three connected together all at the same time, I feel a big energetic lift in feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And I end up being more willing to face the truths of some things that I may need to let go, what I can keep, what I can't. And I give myself a lot more compassion and grace, especially with working with that heart chakra. And it pulls in a lot more like self-love and like self-care. And then like with that solar plexus, it helps me to like remember like my power and that I'm important and that I matter and that I don't need to push myself so hard to the point where I get overwhelmed and I get burnt out. And then also the other thing that I do almost immediately is even if it's just for like 1 minute, I get myself outside just so I can start the energy moving differently in my body so that I can get my feet, my body connected to the atoms and the energetic field of the earth and my energy can start just moving differently. And you get like just a rush of energy as well which also helps you realize that you are burned out. Sometimes I don't even realize I'm burned out until I feel that rush of energy go through me and I don't realize how much I'm lacking. Okay, does that help? Does that answer your question at all?
It does. And yeah, I definitely resonate with that as well. I went outside this morning and it's like raining outside, right? And just immediately you can feel the power of the earth and it was just lovely. So yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Great question.
Yes, it was a great question. I loved it. Great question. Okay. Any other questions or comments, guys? Okay. Thank you so much for being with me today, guys. I really, really appreciate it. And I do have class tomorrow, by the way. Dark Goddess Devotionals is tomorrow. We're doing Sekhmet from Egyptian culture. So hopefully you guys are going to be there.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yay. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.